Days of Our Lives spoilers. Holly stuns Sophia, Rafe and Gabi grill Ari, and a christening plan sparks new tension. In the ever-shifting landscape of Salem, where legacies are both a shield and a shackle, the coming weeks promise not just dramatic confrontations, but a profound exploration of what it means to create, to belong, and to fight for your version of family. Days of Our Lives is set to deliver a masterclass in emotional storytelling, weaving together threads of youthful rebellion, parental panic, and sacred tradition, all underpinned by a single, potent theme: creativity. The artist's declaration. Holly's stunning revelation. The first tremor in Salem's foundation comes from its youngest generation. Holly Jonas, a soul grappling with addiction, recovery, and the immense shadow of her legendary parents, is poised to stun her friend, and sometimes rival, Sophia, with a revelation that transcends typical teen drama. This isn't about a stolen boyfriend or social media gossip. Insiders suggest Holly has channeled her tumultuous journey into a powerful, creative act, perhaps a series of raw, confessional paintings, a haunting musical composition, or an unfiltered written memoir. This creative output is a grenade lobbed into the heart of her relationships. For Sophia, who has her own complicated history and familial baggage, Holly's art may feel like a betrayal, an exposure of shared secrets, or a terrifying mirror held up to her own struggles. The shock isn't merely about the content, but the act itself. In a town where problems are often met with schemes or shouted arguments, Holly's choice to process her pain through art is a revolutionary, vulnerable, and dangerous act. It redefines her in the eyes of her peers and sets her on a collision course with adults who may wish to curate or silence her narrative. This storyline promises to examine the power of artistic expression as both catharsis and weapon, and how the raw creativity of youth can disrupt the carefully maintained facades of an entire community. 2THE parental producers. Rafe and Gabi's grilling OFRE. If Holly's story is about creating from emotion, the adjacent plot involving Rafe Hernandez and Gabi Di Mera is about the desperate, often messy, creation of a parental solution. Their daughter, Ariana, finds herself in the hot seat as her two fiercely protective parents unite in a common, terrifying purpose: uncovering a threat to their child. Rafe, the lawman, operates on a blueprint of evidence and procedure. Gabi, the corporate schemer, works from a playbook of instinct and aggressive strategy. Together, they form an intimidating, albeit temporarily aligned, tribunal. Grifting Ari won't be a gentle conversation. It will be a high-stakes interrogation, a performance designed to elicit truth. They are, in effect, co-producing a drama where their daughter is both the star witness and the subject they are trying to safeguard. This narrative delves into the creativity of parenthood under fire. They aren't just asking questions. They are crafting scenarios, reading between the lines, and attempting to author a safe outcome from a potentially chaotic threat. The tension will crackle not only from the mystery surrounding Ari, but from the clash of Rafe and Gabi's diametrically opposed methods. Can the creative fusion of law and cunning craft a protective shield, or will their combined pressure force Ari into a reckless act of her own? This plotline explores parenthood as the ultimate creative project, one where the materials are fragile, the blueprint changes daily, and the stakes are everything. 3THE sacred script. A christening plan sparks NEW tension. Amidst these personal revolutions, Salem turns to its oldest script, tradition. A plan for a christening, a sacrament meant to symbolize welcome, blessing, and inclusion into a spiritual family, becomes the unlikely crucible for new conflict. In a town brimming with blended families, forgiven betrayals, and shifting alliances, the simple question of who stands at the font becomes a minefield. Which child is being christened? The spoilers are wisely vague, making the potential endlessly creative. Is it baby Jude, whose parentage is a mosaic of Brady, Teresa, and Alex? Is it another young life caught in the crossfire of Salem's wars? The selection of godparents, the guest list, the very right to hold the child during the ceremony, each decision is a loaded piece of staging. Family members will battle over this sacred narrative, each wanting to write their own version of the child's future and solidify their place within it. The tension stems from the clash between the immutable ritual and the chaotic, modern relationships of those participating. The ceremony is a creative act in itself, intended to forge a spiritual bond, but in Salem, it risks becoming a performance of unity that papers over glaring cracks. Will the pageantry of faith heal old wounds, or will it provide a very public stage for new resentments to boil over? This storyline brilliantly uses the framework of tradition to ask how we creatively build legacy and belonging in a world that constantly redefines family. Creative Tapestry of Salem. Individually, these spoilers promise gripping television, but viewed together, they form a sophisticated tapestry examining creativity at every stage of life and in every facet of the human experience. Holly represents the internal creator, the artist who must express her truth to survive, regardless of the consequences. Her creativity is personal, visceral, and non-negotiable. Rafe and Gabi represent the reactive creators, the problem solvers who must improvise a structure of safety and truth from the chaos of an external threat. Their creativity is tactical, urgent, and focused on control. The christening plot represents the institutional creator. Society and traditions attempt to mold relationships into a lasting, sacred form. Its creativity is ceremonial, aspirational, and laden with historical weight. Days of Our Lives, at its best, is more than a succession of shocks. It is a study of how people rebuild themselves and their connections after inevitable devastation. These upcoming stories affirm that in Salem, life is not something that merely happens to you. It is a canvas you paint on with bold, sometimes reckless strokes, like Holly, a case you tirelessly work to solve, like Rafe and Gabi, and a story you constantly rewrite through rituals old and new, like the families at the christening. Font. Prepare for the drama, yes, but also prepare to witness the beautiful, painful, and endlessly creative act of building a life and a family in a town where the only constant is change. The spoilers suggest that in the days to come, salvation and destruction won't just be found in boardrooms or hospital corridors, but in the art we make, the cases we build, and the traditions we choose to uphold or shatter.